Hello class. Hopefully everybody did well in the test yesterday. I should have those graded and put in by the end of the week. So should have submitted it to Teams. Some of you emailed it. So hopefully you got my message, my reply back to put it into Teams. Okay, so we're going to continue with logic gates. This may be the last week we do logic gates. We'll see how quick we get through it, and then we'll move on to something different. But like I said, it depends on how fast we get through this. So this is logic gates part 2. So what this basically consists of is we're going to start looking at more and more complex type logic circuits. But there won't be much truth tables or waveforms involved in that. Okay, what we're going to start doing with those is basically, can you read the outputs? And then we're going to start looking at how to simplify and evaluate these outputs. On the test, you probably noticed that one of them had like a double knot. As far as you knew, it was just 2 lines. So you should have just had a line and then another line, because you don't really know how to simplify that quite yet. Some of you tried to, which was good, but if you didn't, that's fine. So that's what we're going to start looking at, how to basically simplify and evaluate, just like you would an algebraic equation. Simplify it and evaluate it. And then we're going to do some examples and on constructing circuits. And what I mean by that is, given a complex Boolean expression, create a circuit that can give you that final output. Okay, so that's something we haven't really looked at yet, but we will look at that with these. Okay, so today we're just going to kind of keep it short and sweet. I'm going to show you what I mean by complex circuits, so you can see where this is going to go. Make sure everybody knows or remembers how to do the Boolean expressions and the outputs for those. And then we'll start looking at evaluating, simplifying, and all that starting tomorrow. Okay, so here's a complex circuit, or what I mean by complex circuit. So you have this, so for right now, all you really have to do is, I would say, give the output for this. Okay, so the output is basically just come up with the final output. Okay, so this can get rather long and messy, especially as these start getting longer, and you'll see why it's important to simplify. Okay, so basically just like before, we have 4 inputs, but now we have multiple inputs for A, and then it kind of builds up. So we haven't really seen one this complex yet. So basically, remember, every single gate has its own output. So that's the easiest way to do it. And then in order to find out what the inputs for the new gate, and also this one has 3 inputs into this gate. So just be careful with that. Just like A here, what this means is A goes into this gate, and A is also an input for this gate. Okay, it can act and it can go through multiple gates at the same time. Okay, so right here, what do we have? The only thing going through here is A, because it's a NOT gate. NOT gate can only have one input, so here is NOT A. Okay, so this is a AND gate. So we have NOT A and B and C. So NOT A and B and C. Okay, we can't do this one yet because we don't know these outputs. So that's when we go back and we start working this way. So look at this gate. So we have A, and this is an OR gate, so we have A, or D. Notice from here it hasn't went through the NOT gate yet. So this is not A, this is just A. So we have A, or D. Now this whole thing runs through a NOT gate, so this is not A or D. Okay, so now we have an AND gate, and it's these final 2, so it's this and this. So how do we write that? So just like how AND means multiplication, and you can write multiplication in many ways. You can do it like this. You can use it doing the little dot. You can do it, you can show multiplication using parentheses. So it's kind of up to you. The easiest way to do this one would be this one. So this first input and A or not D. Okay, so when you have 2 big terms like this going through an AND gate, it's easy to just use the little dot to show AND, rather than just kind of sandwiching it all together and making one weird looking little alphabet soup thing. Okay, That way you can clearly see which one is the two inputs. Okay, let's look at another one. Very similar. If you wanted to pause it and attempt this one on your own, go ahead. Okay, so start with this gate. And this one's set up in a way that it kind of makes it a little bit more flow, whereas this one you had to kind of jump backwards. Okay, so we have OR gate, so this is A or B, and that goes into an AND gate along with the other input of C. So we have, so how do I write that? Remember, AND gate means multiply. So how would you write C multiplied by A plus B? You would write it kind of like this. Okay, so this is C. You can write this one first, doesn't matter. C and A or B. Okay, so just like when you're using algebra and you have a term that's two terms, and then now it becomes part of a bigger equation, you group it together by using those parentheses. That's what I did here. So that way I know that this is a single term, and then this is kind of its own term. Okay, now this whole thing runs through a NOT gate. So it's just the whole thing with the line over it. Okay. Now this is one input for this, so we have this whole thing or D. So it's okay. So it's not C and A or B or D. And then this entire thing here runs through an AND gate with E. So just like how we had this and C run through an AND gate, we put C times this parentheses. Now we're going to do the same thing here. It's E and then this whole thing in parentheses. So it's going to be E and this whole thing. So it looks like this. E and whatever that input is. Okay, so that's why I said that, and we'll start looking at this, and the way it is now, there you cannot simplify it. Okay, so it's pretty much simplified as it can be. But as you start getting more and more complex, you'll start seeing different ways we can simplify it, so that it doesn't just keep getting more and more messier. Okay, so it still looks messy, but hopefully you can follow and see the individual inputs and how you can start grouping them, so you know this is the input and then this whole thing here is its own input, just like this is one input and that's one input. Okay, so for practice I want you to do this one. Okay, submit it to me. Use this for practice. It's not mastery. Work this out. Hopefully you can come up with the output once you get it done. If you want to send it to me to check it, or just send me your final output and I'll just tell you yes or no. If it's a no, then we can go back and look where you messed up. And of course message me, send that to me on Teams. Okay, thanks guys, have a great day.